Hello everyone and welcome to your Saturn placement. After doing Jupiter, I really wanted to get to this one, but of course, just takes time, like the lesson of Saturn. As someone who's kind of an optimist, I guess I would call myself, and I like to believe in the positive things and I kind of love Disneyland. The serious nature of Saturn was probably the last planet that I really delved into. But there's so much to learn here. Saturn is the realist. It's here to teach you that lifelong lesson. So welcome, my fellow masochists. You have made it to the harshness of reality. I'll make it as pleasant as possible. If you want some feel-good vibes, stop now and watch the Jupiter videos. Just kidding. Saturn is called malefic because it's a place of hardship. Hardships are not random. They're not just the gods laughing at us, or maybe they are. But they are there to teach us a lesson. All of these lessons throughout all of these years, over time, the long haul of Saturn will teach us mastery. So what started as one of your greatest weaknesses will become one of your greatest strengths. When I did the Jupiter videos, one of the comments was that since I presented Jupiter as a superpower, I should present Saturn as Kryptonite. I thought that was such a great idea. Now, I don't know much about the Superman comics, but I do know enough to know what Kryptonite is. If Superman, over time, builds up his immunity to Kryptonite, then that is exactly what Saturn is all about. I also got some criticism for having so much about the actual planet and not as much about the specific traits of your placement. So I'm going to put more in there. But to know about the planet itself is important because it teaches you what's the difference between having a Saturn in Scorpio versus a Saturn ascendant. And when I was first learning about astrology, that was probably the thing that confused me the most. So that is why I spend so much time. Saturn is the slow burn. It's the delayed effect. Usually this area is something that we care so much about, but it seems so unobtainable. And then when we finally get there, we will look back and say it's really worth the journey. This is an area that's going to require dedication, patience, and time. You might feel like your father figure, or God isn't bringing you anything in this area. Like you put so much effort and then it's just not rewarded like Jupiter is. You have to do all of the work, and it's true. There are no spiritual guides or beings that are going to give you that extra boost in this area. This is good old-fashioned blood, sweat, and tears. It's an area that has to be aged like a fine wine. There's also often a lot of shame, which is a huge obstacle. There's this inner voice, you shouldn't do this. Push and pull of something you want, but something you feel is shameful. And for some people, Saturn is mostly about getting past that kind of shame in that area. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. So let's get into your Saturn placements. Saturn in Taurus. The mantra I want you to say to yourself whenever it's helpful: I am the rock, steadfast and true, the lighthouse for others to weather the storm. You are born knowing things take time and having lots of patience. With this position, you will probably be wealthy. It's a pretty good indicator. You're the type of person that doesn't take money lightly. It is very important to you. It is serious business. But the downside is because you want it so badly, and because often with this position, there is an insecurity that if you don't have the wealth and the power, then you think you're not enough. So that is why life is going to teach you this lesson, and why this wealth will be delayed, and why the quick fixes won't work, and why you'll see a lot of people next to you that went to school with you making more money than you do, and you can't figure out why you're not getting there. When you have Saturn in Taurus, you have to be in it for the long haul. And before you know it, you will be the wealthiest. It's just going to take a long time to build. Saturn in Taurus wants a lot of money. They don't want just a little. They don't just want what's comfortable. They want obscene amounts of money, wealth, property, houses, you name it. And with life delaying the accumulation of all the things that you desire the most, the purpose of it is to enrich the meaning of it for you. That wealth is not just a way to isolate yourself from others or to create a wall, but it's a way for you to really be the security blanket, not just for yourself, but for everyone you love. To be the person who probably ends up handing out college funds to all of your nieces and nephews. You'll be the person who just out of nowhere is able to just share so much with so many people. I guess the lesson here would be the Scrooge versus the Bill Gates. Somebody who keeps all the money and hoards it for himself, but never finds real joy or love. And then the person who shares it with the world. With such a great gift, you will have so much to give. It can be nerve-wracking when you're at the beginning and you're doing everything right and you're being prudent and you're not making those risky decisions, and yet the money is just taking forever and just feels like you'll never get there. It might also seem like the more you focus in and the more attention you put towards this, the further you are away from your goal. You're seeking security, predictability, resources, property, wealth, and you want life to go according to plan, but it's not going to. And this probably was something from your childhood where you saw a relative or maybe your family that struggled financially, so much so that it took over their whole existence and they were just caught in this trap, and you never want to be that person. So the lesson here, the spiritual lesson of Saturn for you, is twofold. On one hand, it's the gift of generosity. It's not just about money, but it's about security, of making the world a safer place for everybody, making things more stable. You're the backbone, keeping everything together. And the second lesson, of course, is good things are worth waiting for. Honestly, Taurus really does like things to take time. If money just came like that, it wouldn't be nearly as fun for you. You like to work for it. And in that same vein, you probably are not interested in marrying into money or having it given to you. It just won't feel the same. You really want to earn it. So if you are given an inheritance, you'll want to build that yourself and make decisions that prove your gift in this area, your mastery. Whether you are born into a very wealthy family or a very poor family, these extremes have instilled a work ethic in you that will be impossible to shake. On the shadow side, be careful not to be too judgmental of status, thinking that if somebody has wealth that they are a better person, that they're more important than someone who's poor. If you're stuck in this mindset, then the full mastery of this position will never come to you. Don't mask your insecurities with judgments of others and accumulation of your own wealth. Money cannot buy happiness. It can help you to feel like you've added some security to the world, that what you saw happen when you were young won't happen to the people you love. But it can never be the definition of happiness without those emotional bonds to others. So this position is a real gift. I mean, it's an earth sign. It's like winning the lottery to have this position. But the only downside just to be aware of is to not be greedy or become a snob. You are very savvy about money. You are never going to be the kind of person who just says, oh yeah, sure, I'll invest in your scheme. You just don't go for the quick fix. You know that the things that are going to be real are going to be slow. You're not easily fooled. And risks probably are not going to work out that great for you. Taurus is a traditionalist. The traditional ways of building wealth in your career are probably the way to go. You're committed, steadfast, and focused. Your financial achievements will be awe-inspiring, but they're going to take some patience. Come back for the next video, guys.